It's time for the comparison that everyone has been waiting for. The 50 f1 versus the 56 f1.2. What's up? This is John from John Bunch for Photography, and if you've been hanging around for a minute, you already know we've been testing out the new Fujifilm 50 f1. If you haven't caught any of my other videos, make sure to check them out above, showing you a little bit of the performance of the lens. But the biggest question that everyone wants to know about is how does the 50 f1 compare to the 56 f1.2? So let's talk about just a little bit of the differences of the lenses, and then we'll get into an actual photo shoot so you can compare the photos yourself. So as we know, the 56 is gonna be a little bit of a tighter focal length than the 50. So for a 35mm equivalent, you're talking about an 85 versus a 75 or so. As far as price, the 56 right now is about $850. I'm sure that will change as it's on sale, so maybe you might want to pick one up right now. And the 50 is around $1,500. The 50 is a much larger lens because it's f1 and also autofocus, which is absolutely amazing. As far as weight, you're talking about 2 pounds on the 50, and the 56 is actually barely at 1 pound, just a little bit under that. And for focusing, the 56 is using the older focusing motors, or the old system as I like to call it, and the 50 is on the newer system. So it's actually a little bit better when it comes to autofocus, and it's really fast. So that's a little bit about the lenses and how they compare on paper, but let's go ahead and get into an actual photo shoot so you can compare the photos. So for this comparison, we're not gonna do anything super scientific. I'm gonna take you along on a portrait shoot and compare the 56 and the 50. So I have my X-T3s here. I'll be using these because they're the only two same cameras I own. So keep everything looking very general, very much the same. We have my 56 as my main camera. I'll be shooting this first, and then the 50 f1 to kind of compare with it. And I'll try and line up stuff the same because I know the focal length isn't the same. But again, this isn't anything scientific. We just want to get in here and get some good photos. So let's go ahead and get into the shoot. So what did you all think about the difference between the 50 and the 56? Honestly, it's a little bit hard to tell, but that sharpness on the 50 is so good. So when I did that photo shoot, the new firmware update for most of the Fuji cameras actually wasn't out just yet. And that firmware update helps the cameras work better with the 50 f1. So when you're watching the video comparisons, keep that in mind. I'm sure the 50 is going to be working better with the cameras now that there's new firmware for it. If you haven't had a chance to update your firmware either, definitely check out my video on how to update the firmware on your camera, as well as go to the website, which I'll leave in the description below, so you can check and see if your camera has a firmware update. But for final thoughts, just using it, so every time I use the 50, it definitely is a little bit heavy for me. As you know, if you've had a chance to watch my full wedding day videos, I like to be very light, very small lenses, and that's why I use a lot of the f2 versions of the lenses, like the 35 f2 and the 23 f2. I can clearly feel the weight of the 50 hanging on my holster comparative to the 56. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking to upgrade. Personally, I love the focal length of the 50 way better than the 56. I like shooting wider, and the 50 felt like such a good portrait. Like it gave me enough wideness as well as getting in there for closeness. So I don't know, I really like that focal length much better. Also, it seemed like the 50 had more magenta, it had more contrast, and obviously it was way sharper than the 56. The 56 has this kind of dreamy look to it, and I think it's because of the way the light comes into the lens, along with how soft it is compared to the 50. It's not soft at all, it's a nice lens, but comparative to the 50, it's definitely soft. And those were all the things I noticed in the differences of the lenses. As far as who this lens is for, if you're a professional, you have the money, you want to upgrade to a sharp lens that lets in a lot of light, the 50 f1 is definitely for you. You should pick it up. It is a great lens, and I cannot get over how it focuses and how sharp it is even at f1. For anyone else on a budget, not looking to spend as much, or just know that a lot of people are going to be selling their 56s right now, you may want to pick one up, because right now it's on sale for $850, but imagine a used one, maybe like, I don't know, $500, $700. So yeah, definitely check out the 56 as well, because it's one of the best Fuji lenses they have ever made. So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you a 50 person, a 56? I want to see what you all think between the photos and the autofocusing and the price. Which lens do you see yourself using? Thanks again for hanging out on the channel, and I hope you like that comparison. For more Fujifilm information, creative entrepreneurship information, and photography stuff, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll check you all out next time. Thanks again. Peace.